What's up, Laker Nation, and welcome into episode 14 of the LakeShow Flow. I'm Gio with my co-host Joe.
What's up, y'all?
So before we get into last night's game, we just want to say we appreciate the activity in the comment section, the up in subscribers. You know, we're getting excited about that. But yeah, so if you're new here, just leave us the subscribe and go ahead and comment and let us know what you think about the video. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. We still haven't got a dislike, so that's good. Yeah. You know, but at least spice it up, you know.
Someone's gonna dislike now to troll.
Yeah, like if you,
like, oh, they don't got a dislike, huh?
If you stop by and you legit dislike the channel, you know, it's not gonna hurt us. At least we know someone stopped by, like a Clipper fan or something that just wants to hate, you know. We need some haters, you know, because we don't know if we're doing good yet. But anyway, so last night the Lakers do fall to the Heat, 96-94. For the Lakers in that one, you had LeBron James with a near triple-double. He had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. You had KCP with 11 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Marc Gasol, 6 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Kyle Kuzma with 23 points, 4 rebounds. Wesley Matthews, 10 points, 8 rebounds. And Montrezl Harrell with 18 points and 10 rebounds.
And for the Heat, you had Jimmy Butler with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. You had Kendrick Nunn with 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. You had Bam with 16 points and 10 rebounds. And you had Robinson with 11 points and 10 rebounds.
And so starting out this game, we had the Heat pretty much attacking inside early. Like they established that paint presence with Bam. And he was just eating, man. He had that first little alley-oop. It was too easy. And then he pretty much, there was even some plays where he was just driving to the rim. Like this big dude that can handle a little bit was able to just get right into the paint, and it's been an issue that we've been talking about. You know, as good as Mark has, you know, improved a little bit, it was still a case. There was still a problem in this game.
Yeah, I feel like Bam is pretty much like a TREZ, but like on steroids. Like just better, you know, because he's not particularly tall, but he can handle the ball, and he had 3 baskets that quarter, but they were all dunks. Yeah. So that's all just like rotations being bad. Like you said, they had the alley-oop, you know. So I feel like when it comes to Mark, he's going to have these games where he goes against these centers that are just going to destroy him. We just got to live with that, right? Yeah. But what we can't live with is Kendrick Nunn going off in that quarter. He had 3 threes and 3 baskets, right? He averages 11.5 points this season. So
we let him accomplish that.
He did that within the first quarter. Yeah, you know, so that's pretty much, I feel like every game there's someone going off for threes. I don't know what it is.
It's weird, man. Like, it's always a player that's not supposed to go off.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy Butler didn't particularly go off in this game, you know? And we have Kendrick Nunn over here scoring, like, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Nunn play like this. Like, I've heard his name as a role player, as, like, a guy that can give you some energy, you know? But for him to go off like this, it was just... It sucks, you know, because I know naturally every team's going to wake up for the games. We talk about that. Yeah. But we just let these guys that are, I mean, yeah, they've been struggling, so maybe they're a little hungry, but we let these guys just go off.
Yeah, and it's like, with him, it's like, you had KCP guard him, right? Which KCP, we talked about it. If you're not going to offer offense, you got to at least offer defense. Yeah. So, at this point, KCP's kind of hurting us on both sides of the floor. It seems like the last few games, like, guards have been going off. So, that's all Wesley, you know? So, KCP.
Or a combination of both, to be honest. I mean, Wesley has his steals and stuff. I think he does a little more, but...
Well, Wesley did first. He was on Jimmy. So, the first quarter, Jimmy only had, like, three baskets.
Yeah, so he was doing his job, at least at this point.
So, yeah, he was doing his job, you know. But, KUZ gets to start tonight. KUZ pretty much started off on fire.
Yeah, he was looking good.
His first shot was, like, this turnaround fadeaway 3 with, like, 2 seconds left. And, was just doing everything right. Started off really good. He's actually 5th in defense racing.
When I saw that, I was like, that puts it, like, our eye test was real, you know, like, we see it, but to see that stat pop up, it's like, okay. So in our whole defense, obviously, supposedly we're number 1 still, but it might just be a lot of KUZ like keeping that up.
And the crazy thing with him, he doesn't even start other than when AD's out, which he's gonna have a good stretch of games here, but to do that off the bench, to be 5th in defensive efficiency, you know, is a good thing. So he was doing his thing.
Like 11 in that quarter.
Yeah, he had like 11, you know, and always hustling, doing the rebounds. And then LeBron, the crazy thing about LeBron, they had Bam on him to start the game, right? So they pretty much had a center guard him. And he did good. I mean, he had 2 baskets and 2 free throws, but I think he needs to do more in that first quarter because he's not particularly having to work hard on the defensive end because they had him on Kelly Olynyk all night. And, you know, they had a few other guys come in, but the main guy he guarded was Kelly Olynyk. So when you don't really have to work your butt off on the defensive end, I think
KUZ had his back when it came to like Jimmy later on too.
Yeah,
so.
so I think he needed a little bit more. He ended off great, but I feel like he should have started off a little bit hotter, because...
Yeah, because when he did drive, it was easy.
Like because Bam is a center still. Bam doesn't have the feet movement to keep up with LeBron, and best case scenario, if he drives and, he doesn't make it, he's probably still going to get fouled. And that puts Bam in foul trouble, which takes Bam out of the game and kind of helps the game be a little better for us, But in this quarter, too, like always, they had a 10-2 run, right?
Yeah.
So I think with us, lately in these last few games, we have started slow. And it's like, it's hard to win games when you go down by like 15 or 17 to start off a game. That's just such a huge mountain to climb. It's
like, just because we've shown that we can come back in certain situations, especially against a team that's a little lesser like the Heat this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they are hungry because they have started off, a little off, and then
and they did make the finals last year. So.
Yeah, so they're gonna come back, especially this game. They're gonna come back motivated to beat us because them trying to right their direction with their season. They want to knock off the champs that beat them last year, and they just got Jimmy back, so he's motivated. But yeah, so it just seems like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if we just see ourselves as so far higher than other teams, or what it is, like an ego thing. But all it's doing is hurting us because it makes us have to work harder for every other quarter.
Yeah, and this team in particular, though, I think with them, they kind of play with a chip on their shoulder because I don't think anyone thinks that they should have been in the finals last year.
Oh yeah,
I think people kind of see them as like that team that kind of got lucky and made it, but I don't think anyone thinks that Miami is the most talented team in the East.
And the crazy thing is, they beat the Bucks and the Celtics, I think. So it's like, that's wild. Like for people to still doubt them in that way, I mean, I would be pissed too. But going into the second quarter, I mean, the same thing continued with Bam got an easy tip in right away, just lack of hustle on rebounds, and it just seems like we don't wake up on rebounds and stuff until like we know, okay, we only got like a quarter and a half left, so let's start hustling. So pretty much in this second quarter, they're still doing their thing in the paint. LeBron came back, started being more aggressive, which I took note of because I said at the end of the first in my notes that like I wanted him to stay aggressive, but he didn't. So in the second, he went back to that, and that helped.
Well, I feel like with LeBron though, there's just a few times when he ISOs that he will hold the ball until there's like 3 or 4 seconds left, and then he'll pass it off to somebody else.
Yeah, and someone's got to take a wild shot.
Yeah, because TREZ had to take a crazy 3, which it's
like... Oh, yeah, that was weird.
TREZ is not a 3-point shooter. Why put him in that position? I'd rather you shoot the ball and have to make a difficult shot than to throw it to him at the 3-point line. Even if it's the right play,
it's something he never does.
Yeah, you got to know your player's skill sets. He's not going to make that shot. Like, it's not a high percentage shot. So LeBron needs to work on, if you're going to ISO that long and there's 5 seconds on the clock, don't pass it off. Unless it's a wide open like KCP for 3, or it's like maybe TREZ gets open for an alley. But other than that, don't just pass it off to someone else and expect them to do something, because at that point it's just the offense isn't going to work like that. We don't have guys that are just going to pull up. Like, if you have shooters, let's say for example, if you have a Steph Curry out there, you could do that. Just throw it to him. He's going to throw it up, he'll probably make it. But we don't have that. So if you're going to play all this ISO ball, you got to do something with the ball.
And there's got to be more movement too. I feel like we've talked about before, and I don't like that sometimes LeBron does wave people off. It's like, if anything, I don't know if there's a symbol for it, but throw up a symbol like, all right, look, y'all can back up a little bit, but move while you're off the ball. Yeah. Because I feel like just letting them, like, making them back off, they're just going to stand there and wait for, like, either you're going to take a shot, drive, or you're going to kick it out last second like that.
Well, I feel like what happens too, though, a lot, and I've talked to you about this in games, he'll call for a screen, he'll get the switch on the center, and I feel like people just expect, like, okay, let me move out the way. He's got the center on him. He should be able to get past the center. And he'll just sometimes chuck up a 3, or he'll dribble too much and then pass it off to somebody else. It's like, I think people just expect him, like, all right, you got the center on you, you got Kelly Olynyk on you, you should be able to get past him. So I think maybe that's where people get just like, I don't want to try to do too much and get in his way if he does drive, Yeah. So I don't know. They need to establish it, or maybe, like you said, LeBron needs to develop a signal like, hey, I'm just going to dribble a little bit. I'm not going to take this, move around in the back, and get open type of thing.
Yeah, because if you just leave people in their spots, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's not enough of an offense. Like, people could literally, like I told you earlier when we were getting ready to record, it's like they played easy defense this game, Miami. Yeah. They were just able to pretty much trap LeBron when they wanted and make him force it to someone else, or just only worry about him ISOing, because no one else was a threat on ISO.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and in this game too, because we talked about it too, I sent you a message earlier in the day about the crying, right? About people that are getting, there's fouls happening, they're not getting calls, which sucks. But even the announcers, Jeff Van Gundy, said like the Lakers, they just cry. Like they're lucky they're not getting more tee ups, right? So every time someone goes in for a layup and they don't get their call, they stand back and talk to the ref when the game's still going. So you leave your team down a man on defense, and people get easy buckets. Like I know that you want to get your point across and tell the ref like, hey, watch out for this, but there's a time to do it. Like wait till timeout or commercial, or even like Vogel's the coach. That's his job. Talk to the ref on the baseline over there and be like, hey, by the way, when my team comes down next time, look for this.
Yeah, I think the thing too with LeBron is he's been in the league so long that like maybe he thinks that, you know, oh well, this works before, you know, I could just talk to the rest. But at the same time, they're adapting to LeBron. Like they're learning that, okay, like we're not going to just give him what he wants just because he's telling us. So if anything, if he takes a step back, maybe he will get more calls, because the refs were pretty bad, at least on our side on this game. I feel like the Heat got a lot of calls, LeBron didn't get many, and maybe that shied him away from driving a little bit. But yeah, like holding back a play on defense just to talk and get your point across, I don't like that either. I think when the ball stops, you know?
Yeah, do it when it stops.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with that, though, because all the stars do it, right? Everyone does it. But I think what's making this a problem is that other people are starting to do it on our team. Like Alex Caruso's doing it. TREZ is doing it. Like
it's becoming like our identity.
It's becoming a thing where it's like, okay, if LeBron's doing it, I'm going to do it. So then...
You sent me that meme, too, of like all the teams.
There's like 3 or 4 guys just standing there like with their hands up. It's like, I get it. LeBron could do it. Like I said, stars, they've earned the right. But... Alex Caruso, TREZ, they do a lot of things right. Like, they're good players, but it's becoming kind of a culture. And like I said, when you do that and there's no whistle, you just leave the opposite end on defense. You leave them down a man. So that could be an easy 3, that could be a layup. And especially in games like this where you're trying to claw back, you can't afford to give up defensive possessions where you're down there talking to the ref.
And like 9 times out of 10, even when LeBron gets back, that there's just so much of a missed like rotation that like someone gets open, either it's a cut to the basket or someone's open for 3, or we just have less of a man down low to rebound. So
definitely, you know,
it is an issue. But the encouraging thing, at least to end this quarter, is we started making some threes. We saw KC3 made back-to-backs, which was nice.
Definitely.
And I mean, he hasn't really been on, so that was nice to see, because you know, we'll talk about it later on, but he looked like he's getting his stroke back a little bit. He wasn't too efficient, but you know, it's encouraging because we rely on him to make shots. Like all through the playoffs, like we said, you know, if people are going to stand around and wait for the shots, he needs to make his shots, because it's been an issue lately.
I feel like he needs to take more too, though. I feel like there's games where he'll only shoot like 5 times.
Yeah, and if we got to get him
6 times, you know.
Yeah, if we got to get him in rhythm, you know, and just say, hey, we're gonna draw up the first like 3-4 plays. Let's get KC3 his open, you know, shot. Like if we can do that, I think that would help him, because if we go like 2 quarters without doing it, and like towards the end we're just like, oh, here, get your 3 in. Like he's not gonna be in rhythm. Like
or get to the line. Like you hear people talk about all the time, like just seeing the ball go in the basket. Sometimes we'll get a shooter going. So like draw up a play where you could get to the basket, possibly get fouled, or even just get an easy layup. You know, seeing the ball go in helps people, you know, mentally just feel better. So get them more involved, you know. But on the other side, for them, Butler only had 2 baskets. And the only one that really did damage that quarter was Bam, you know? So that's all paint points. We kind of like played better defense in that quarter. The defense like picked up because they start off with 36 in the first quarter, and I guess they scored only 40-something the rest of the game. So obviously the defense picked up for us, but the offense lacked so much that we just couldn't come back, you know? And it's like, it's kind of hard though when you don't have AD, you don't have shooter, you know, because those 2 guys, they're able to create their own shots. And it's when you have to rely on like Wesley, who doesn't create his own shots, Morris, Alex Caruso is more of a defensive guy now than an offensive guy. TREZ is a hustle guy, but he's not going to really create anything.
Yeah, it's,
you know, so it's just hard, you know, but at least the defense is still there. We just need to get offense fixed.
Yeah, it's like with our offense right now, like I said, it's just easy defense for them because the only threat to ISO is LeBron James. So it gets tough because we ran a lot of ISO with AD in the post before. We had Schroeder who can create. We don't have that shot creation right now. But the encouraging to end the half was Mark hits this little hop and pop 3, and you know he looked a little happy. He did his little hand. Yeah, he did his little hand thing. He was like, I have been saving that shot. But I mean, that was nice. But see, you know, like we said, there's still only the paint at this point. And yeah, I mean, BRON and KUZ are pretty much carrying the scoring load at the end of that half. So going into the third quarter, it was a good start to the third. To begin with, KUZ hits his fourth triple of the night, and then Mark another hop and pop. So it was cool because that's what we signed him for, is like be big, and we knew he could stretch the floor.
Yeah, just hit 2 threes.
Yeah,
that's all we need.
Because he wasn't hitting like for a while. It was just
these last few games, though, it feels like he's been more efficient with his threes.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's taking them a little bit more right now. So I feel like he feels more comfortable taking these shots because AD's not in. Because like I said. So with AD out, he shoots, they were saying, like around 20 times a game. So those are shots I got to go somewhere else. So I feel like Mark's feeling more comfortable taking those shots, And
it's a process too for us to figure out who's going to get the majority of those shots. And I thought it was going to be, KUZ and then also Shooter, but obviously Shooter's not there. So I think, the offense being stagnant too, it comes down to all these guys. We say they're not in a rhythm really. But like we said, we got to get them in a rhythm. And at the same time, it's going to be hard for them to just snap it and just be like, okay, now you need me. I'm going to just be in. You would think, the NBA players that could just get, snap their fingers and be in. But yeah, naturally, as a human being, you're not going to have that confidence if you're not really, getting those shots.
Of course, you got to be mentally in there, But on their side, Jimmy Butler started to come alive.
Yeah.
Finally, So he had 3 baskets, 3 free throws. He got a lot of easy baskets, too. He was attacking the paint so much and getting in there so easily, And
it's one thing to let a one-dimensional guy like Bam drive in and, he's going to go straight at the rim. But Jimmy's so crafty that he can pull up out of nowhere, right underneath the basket and shoot a little fader. So, our paint protection was really bad. It was more on display in this quarter because once Jimmy starts getting going, that's just a whole different dynamic because he's got floaters, he's got fades, he can go to the rim. So that was tough because they end up going on a 13-0 run, which is pretty much all in the paint. Either they're driving, getting easy stuff, or they get free throws off of that. So that was tough because, we already know that the runs are coming, but usually it might be a quicker, 3-point run or something like that. But these guys were just slamming the ball in the paint. Yeah. We couldn't really stop it.
Yeah, the runs, I feel like that's just what it comes down to in these games. I don't remember the last time I've seen a team give up so many runs. I feel like this happened back in the days when we were bad and we had nobody. But for a team that LeBron's on, I don't remember ever watching games and LeBron's teams are going on scoring droughts or something like that, And a lot of it's got to do with the injuries, of course, and these young guys having to step up, but you can't win games like that. And even when AD was in, they were still happening. So these droughts have to be addressed. Someone needs to step up. Like I said, KUZ is playing good, but at the end of the day, KUZ is KUZ. You can't ask KUZ to be the number 2 guy on a team when that's just not his role. At this point, KUZ has become almost like a Swiss Army knife. He's going to score, but he's no AD. He's not at that superstar level where you can be like, all right, that's our number 2. He's more right now a good piece on a team. Yeah. A young guy that's coming up.
I think,
but it's too much to ask to just be like, hey, you take the load now.
I think he's shown enough to be the 3 though. Once AD comes back, I would put him in the lineup. Well, however you can get KUZ in the lineup at this point, put him in the lineup. We do need some bench production, but I feel like we can get that. And if anything, it might help someone like Wesley THT get some more minutes off the bench, where it'll help them get their rhythm off the bench. We can't be scared of lack of bench production and hold KUZ back from where he deserves to be. I feel like he deserves to be in the starting lineup.
Yeah, or make it to where he does start and set up the minutes where
he's in there with the second.
He's in there with some second units sometimes. LeBron gets to go in there with the second unit sometimes. You could set up rotations easily where they get to still play with the second unit. Because I feel like the second unit does need somebody. Because other than TREZ, there's no other scorer on that second unit.
So
so.
Yeah, and I was gonna say for this quarter, I know we don't say this ever. I don't think anyone's ever said this, but the boy THT made a 3. So if he can do this a little more often, TH3 might be a thing. But
I just don't think it's his thing.
I know, man. But it looks good when it goes in for him.
I feel like THT is slowly learning. He doesn't always have to score. He's getting better at passing.
Yeah, he's a good passer.
Yeah, he has his moments where it looks like I said, he's slowing down. I feel like the more he's playing, it's gonna help. And but I feel like he does need to score. He could be another guy off the bench because, like I said, Alex is the defender. KUZ, when he does come off the bench, he does score, but he's also a defender. So outside of like TREZ and KUZ, there's no one else off that bench that really scores.
Yeah.
You know, like consistently at least. So I feel like THC could become that. He does need the minutes to do it though.
Yeah.
He does need opportunity, but
it's just all the reps, you know, and I mean naturally too, he is starting to kind of hit a little wall, you know, like in terms of just how easy it was at first.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen, you know. This is technically like a rookie season for him, like actually playing.
He's young.
So, you know, he did hit that wall, but we'll see what happens going forward. But the encouraging thing to close the quarter is, you know, after that 13-0 run, we started playing a little better defense. And yeah, I mean, Caruso and THT, they both had a good closeout on a 3. I noticed they both ran to the same guy, which is good because they knew he was going to shoot.
Yeah.
And we just had good passing too. Like a lot of people were setting each other up back and forth. So going into the fourth, we're only down by 4. It was 77-81. And yeah, I mean, fourth quarter though, the same habits happen. You know, the pain points are just, I don't think it was going to stop at that point. They had the advantage clearly. You know, they have the athletic center, and we didn't have nothing to stop that. So that was happening. And then Kendrick Nunn, man, he just kept going off. Like he kept scoring, you know, when they needed it the most, almost, it seemed like, because he did slow down a little bit after his crazy burst in the first half.
Yeah.
But he was just, it was like we would get close and then he would make a 3, or he'd make a, you know, he'd drive to the rim, and I'm just like, this guy, man. Like,
yeah, I feel like he played out of his mind. I think though with Robinson fouling out in that quarter, and Robinson only ended with like 5 points or something like that.
Yeah.
It kind of offset it because Robinson's usually a guy that goes off for them, you know. So I feel like he kind of offsets it. But on the other side of things, in that quarter, LeBron only had 1 basket, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like he does look tired. If you watch the game, he looks tired, and it's understandable. And that's where a lot of fans need to wake up and understand that he's not prime Cleveland LeBron no more. Don't get me wrong, he's still great. He's still super amazing, possible MVP candidate and all that stuff, you know, but he's getting tired, you know, and I feel like, once again, he played high minutes, you know. I feel like, obviously, this team has shown what they could do with only 1 star. So, I feel like we need to just rest them, let these young guys step up. If we take some losses along the way, it's okay, because obviously, I feel like the Lakers are so good, it doesn't matter about home court advantage. We don't really need it.
Yeah, I mean, even KUZ after the game, he said, we're not worried about seeding.
Yeah.
He said there's not going to be fans, first of all.
Yeah.
And he also said that there was a LeBron Cleveland team that finished the 4th seed and went to the finals.
Yeah, you know, so I feel like with him, if we run him into the ground now and get him tired, possibly even injured, obviously when we have 1 star, this team, it's not good enough to win. Like, we're not going to beat the Clippers with 1 star.
In today's NBA, no team can win with 1 star.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
problem.
so I feel like LeBron's load with minutes need to get lightened. Obviously, it's hard to do, though, when there's no offense other than LeBron, KUZ. Nothing else seems to be working. I think it's time for Vogel to maybe try to create a better offense. Maybe sit LeBron down, talk with him, you know, because LeBron's smart. He's a smart guy, and just be like, hey, look, I know you see this, everyone else sees it, but the ISO with just you, it's not going to work. We need to get other guys going. So we need to start creating something for other people.
I think at this point, you know, we'll finish up with the wrap up, but actually I'll go back to this. I'm going to talk about what we might need to do, you know, going forward in terms of like a roster move.
Yeah.
There's certain guys I think are untouchable, and we'll get into that. But to close this game, we did start playing better defense. You know, like we said, we wake up at the end of games, and it's bad habits, you know, that we can only wake up when the game's on the line. I guess it might help us in the playoffs, but not if we're giving up these crazy leads in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
the last 2 shots though. The last shot was debatable. You could go either way with that.
Yeah.
The shot before that Wesley 3, it was a design play for Wesley.
That's just not the guy. Like, if he had a stroke going in this game, then maybe set him up.
Even then, I still don't want him shooting ball.
Yeah, I would have taken a LeBron drive over at that point.
Because we had time at that point too. There was time. I don't know why.
And despite the fact that he was tired, he can still get to the basket easily.
Yeah.
You know, so he's either gonna get fouled. I mean, he wasn't getting too many foul calls this game, but I'd still take that, you know, over that Wesley design, because we didn't even need a 3.
Yeah, I don't want Wesley shooting it. And if there's another guy other than LeBron, I want KUZ to shoot it. I feel like KUZ has taken those moments. He's able to do them.
Yeah, and he was a little off that game, you know, in terms of efficiency, but he can make big shots, like you said.
He can make it, you know, but it was just a horrible design by Vogel. I don't know if maybe, because in basketball, when you run plays, there's always a second option if the first one doesn't work. So I don't know maybe if LeBron was the first option and it got covered, so they said, all right, second option. because at that point we had no timeouts. You only have 5 seconds to throw the ball in, so maybe it was just a scramble second option type thing. But
yeah, like when
I feel like your second option still can't be Wesley, you know?
Yeah, and then the other play where LeBron gets that clutch steal, we're talking about it. I think, like that one was even more of a scramble because we had no timeouts. So I think he did try to get it, at least further down the court to Caruso, and then Caruso gave it back, and then they brought the double. But
because we talked about it, right? LeBron was right there. He didn't pass it up to Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso actually got the steal because it was like
when he tipped it. Yeah, there you go.
So
yeah.
We talked about it. There was about like 9 seconds left. I think LeBron should have came back and just grabbed the ball and took it, because I feel like when the ball's out of your hands, you can't predict anything. Like LeBron, he did get the ball eventually, but it's just like it was out of his control at that point. They gave it to LeBron in a bad.
Yeah, there was just a double team.
A double team, and it was the right play to throw it to Caruso. He's open. It's the right play.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'd rather you take the difficult play than the right play, because that's just too much to put on Alex Caruso, who doesn't score that much.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're not even halfway through the season. If he can get a game winner under his belt and get a little confidence, if we're not worried about seeding, we can dish it out. Like I told you, on the way over here to record this, like LeBron is not Kobe Bryant, and I think we're just kind of like we so used to what we saw, Kobe taking these double team threes and making these spectacular shots. LeBron, it's just not his play style, like he's never gonna throw up a crazy shot over giving it to a guy like Caruso, and that might be something that Skip Bayless and all these people talk about, him passing up. He's taking his shots when he knows it's the right shot,
Well, yeah.
I just think
it's the right play,
Yeah. So, I mean, it sucks, that we ended up missing off that buzzer beater. It would have been nice to see Caruso. Like, the internet would have exploded if Caruso would have made that shot.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, the story of this game, like we said, we lose it by 2 points, 96-94. But too many turnovers again. We can't match them. We had 14, I think, in the whole game. The paint points. We missed a lot of big shots down the stretch, like just open shots, too. So, I mean, that was just not our night. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce our way. Sometimes the ball doesn't just go straight in the hoop. So, but bigger picture stuff, unless you have anything else for the game.
No, I mean, we covered pretty much everything, but what we're going to talk about next, like you said, is like obviously what this team needs. The buyout market's coming. Trade deadline's coming. Obviously, we've heard a lot of names. We've heard Hassan. We've heard Drummond, We've
heard Boogie recently.
We've heard Boogie, which...
It doesn't.
I wouldn't mind it, but it's not.
He doesn't address what we need. Like rim protector stuff.
I feel like that was old Boogie.
Yeah.
But that's not Boogie now. It's almost just like a younger version of Gasol. He's more of a stretch five now.
Yeah.
He could have his flashes of defense, but I feel like that's just not who he is anymore. So I mean, I don't particularly love it. I want someone who's gonna play defense. I don't need more scoring from a center. I need someone that's gonna guard the paint.
Yeah, because we have TREZ that can score as a center. We have Mark, who, like we said, he's improving. He's not obviously athletic, but like I said, we're not getting athleticism on defense with Boogie. He's had so many injuries.
Yeah, he's heavy-footed.
Which, for depth purposes going forward, I wouldn't mind Boogie, and to make up for some of the stuff AD does right now.
Yeah,
because he's hurt. But so yeah, I mean that's a move. But I think more than anything too, though, if we can, like the untouchables for me, obviously LeBron, AD, KUZ, THT, and Caruso. I don't want to get rid of none of those guys. Everyone else, we can figure, if we could flip them for like a guy that can bring us some offense, while we're missing AD, then let's do it. We've heard that we're also interested in PJ Tucker. I mean, he's a little scrappy, he's undersized, but if he can get us that corner three that he makes, I mean, at least we'll have that, because a lot of these guys don't seem ready for those.
He's an effort guy, which is good. He's going to get his rebounds, but I don't want PJ Tucker. I just feel like he just offers scoring. Like I said, we don't need scoring.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, he can play defense.
He can, but it's just like we need a center. He's not going to ever play center for us.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, yeah, we need to get that center. I'm not going to depend on him to be the center.
Yeah.
But just, I just think that some of the energy guys we do have right now, like Markieff, we need someone to replace what Markieff doesn't do.
Yeah, if you want to trade for PJ Tucker and start playing, or trade for PJ Tucker and start playing him with Morris's minutes, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But you're saying, for the direct need, he's not it.
Yeah, so it doesn't address the center position. But, I mean, there's options, obviously, within the next few days. A lot's going to happen because, like I said, the trade deadline's March 1st, I believe. So it's just like...
I think it's a little bit...
I think it's March 1st or March 5th. Something, it's early March, very early March. So that's going to be within the next week. So we'll see something happen.
See some buyout potential. And I think the biggest, or the guy I would want the most right now is Mo Bamba, for sure. Because he's young still.
Wasn't cost anything.
Yeah, I've heard some, lack of motivation things from like him being in Orlando, but he's in Orlando.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you'll be surprised how motivated you get when you get on a championship contender team, because obviously he's not a scrub. He has potential. He's tall, he's young. He could potentially grow with this team, you know. And like I said, he's still on his rookie deal, so it doesn't cost nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So we'll see what we can do with that. I mean, bigger picture stuff, real quick. I mean, the Lakers, they're still a contender. I'm not as worried. I mean, we have bad habits.
Yeah.
But I think once we get AD, and especially Schroeder while AD's out, it's gonna give us more offense. So we did take the L, but we're trying to rebound for the next game because we got to get in some type of rhythm. We play the Wizards next, and I mean, they've been kind of hot though. They're a dynamic duo, so we'll see what happens in that game. But like we said, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, leave us some feedback. It helps grow the channel and just us being motivated to do this thing. But yeah, so take care, you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Be safe, like a nation.